Guys, we're back.
Yes,
We are back.
we are back. We're
Bizarre.
actually going to do our bizarre adventures today because we don't have any NHL news.
Wow, that's pretty bizarre.
That's pretty bizarre. Man, it's just a day full of just nonstop NHL news update stuff. By the way, what's really funny is one of our segments about talking about the awards and like how there is a bit of a question mark. I think a few days, like the next day after that podcast came out, the league were like, yeah, no, the awards are set, regular season, whatever. Ovi, you get the Rocket with Pasternak. Art Ross, go to Leon. So thanks to the NHL for that, by the way.
At least we don't have to do another award show, right?
Oh, I'm sure you guys are going to figure out a way to make another one.
Well,
come.
we're going to have to do another draft, right? Because
Yeah.
the lottery is going to be set.
I mean, we don't have to.
No, we have to. Right, Daniel?
We have to see where the goalie goes.
Because Daniel, if New Jersey gets the first overall pick, they're going to pick Yaroslav Askarov first overall.
I think so.
Alexis Lafreniere, who? I don't know who that is.
Decent player. I think he's French or something.
Just some guy.
Just some guy. Anyway, guys, we have a fun show. We're going to be talking about a fun little movie, but like before I even go near that, there's been a lot going on in the world, and we had a bit of a talk before the show. And Alex, why don't you just have a little word about what's going on here?
Yeah, so if you've been watching the news, or if you've been on social media, you've obviously seen what happened with George Floyd in Atlanta. And the police officer, I'm sorry, I do not remember the police officer's name off the top of my head, but in Minneapolis or Minnesota, sorry.
It's been in Minneapolis, yeah, but
Yeah, and now there's obviously protests around the country and around the world, and there was also an incident in Toronto. And just there's been so much going on, and it's honestly pretty bad to see. And I think it's good that everyone's really waking up to what's actually going on in the world, because I feel like we see these incidents happen, and it kind of just gets pushed to the side a lot of the times, and that's not good. And I think a lot of people have suffered for years, and I think we were having this discussion before, like years and years and years is not even a good way to put it, because it's been so long that these things have been happening, and you start to realize that the steps we've made aren't good enough. I don't know any other way to put it than it's really bad. And I guess, let's tie it back to sports quickly. I think we've talked about issues like this still being in the game, and it is, and it really is good to see that a lot of players are speaking out.
mm-hmm.
We saw Evander Kane, and by what I'm trying, the point I'm trying to make is it's not the players of color who are speaking out. It's the white players who are speaking out now. Yesterday, I saw Logan Couture. I saw Blake Wheeler. I know there was a lot more, many more players who were not just in hockey, but in multiple sports speaking out. So it's finally good to see them do that. But I think, if we're looking at it from a sports perspective, a lot more has to be done within the game. And I don't think this is just a sport issue. I think it's a society issue. There's just a lot of steps that need to be taken for it to be made right.
Mm-hmm. Well said, Alex. Daniel, anything to say on the subject?
No, nothing further. Alex really mentioned, but we needed to kind of say in this more on this more serious topic, and I guess just I'm praying everyone is safe during these protests and riots and everything, especially in the U.S. and everyone. Actually, too, in Canada, I know there's a demonstration as well.
Yeah.
That it's like so far been like peaceful and everything, and I hope everyone keeps safe, and I like understand what's going on.
Absolutely.
It is a bit. It's a very sharp turn for us, but again, we hope that this podcast can at times be a distraction from maybe some of the stuff going on in the world. At the same time of all these protests going on, there is still the pandemic as well. Yeah. So there's a lot of rough stuff going on, and hopefully we can help you guys escape it for a bit. And with that, it is Bizarre Adventures today, guys. It is.
I have two more, or I have one more announcement.
Special
announcement, or I have two. You know what? First, let's just give a shout out to Elon Musk. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Man, just sent people to the space. I didn't realize that the U.S. or NASA specifically hasn't sent anyone to the space in a while.
Wasn't it like the first time in 9 years that an American...
since 2011, I believe.
Because I know Americans have been to space, but they've used other people's... Like, they've been a part of different missions. I think India and China. I could be wrong on China, but I'm pretty sure India was one of them. So, shout out to Elon Musk for doing it. And being cheaper than NASA. Yeah.
Man, if we ever want to have a debate on the cost of space travel, I will gladly have it. But what was your second announcement?
It's specifically about the show.
Mm-hmm.
We did it.
Are we at 1,000 plays?
We are at 1,000 plays.
Hey! That's wicked!
Adam made a bold prediction in January. Right?
Around there, yeah. I think that's fair.
We were at 300 plays, and Adam said, hey, we're going to be at 1,000 plays by the draft. And yeah, we know the draft. We don't know when the draft is actually happening, but the draft would normally happen, around the end of June?
Yeah.
It is May 31st, and we have hit 1,000 plays. So, Adam, next prediction.
The next prediction is a very easy one. The Pittsburgh Penguins will not advance past the first round.
No, stop it. With our show. Get out of here.
I would like to hope that by Christmas, the YouTube channel is up to 30 subscribers.
30 subscribers. Okay, that's our
300.
That's a lot.
Daniel, if you put the bar a little low, you won't be as disappointed when you flop over it.
You have to fly high.
Ducks fly together.
We need to, we'll build up that YouTube channel. It's a little, it's a little slow right now, but we're working on it.
Yeah, we gotta get it going, lads. So
we gotta wear more eye-popping outfits. I think that's why.
Yeah. In my bright yellow jersey.
I mean, we all have pretty decent TV colors on. Alex, you have the yellow there. Daniel's got the red hat. I've got my blue T-shirt. So I think we're going, guys, but we'll get into it now. Bizarre Adventures, and we are talking about, I don't know about you guys, but this is easily my favorite Star Wars movie and probably my second or third favorite movie of all time. Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
The most underrated Star Wars movie.
I think that's fair. This is a movie that I think Star Wars is such a unique little property that you have the generation that grew up with the original trilogy, then you had the next generation that grew up with the prequels, then you have this weird kind of time where, because Episode 3 came out in 2005, which is very weird to think. Then starting in 2009, you kind of have our generation where then we started growing up with Clone Wars, stuff like the Force Unleashed games, the Lego games, all this lovely, lovely stuff. And then we get that connection to the prequels, and then the Disney trilogy come out, all this type of stuff. So this is the prequels have a very kind of unique cult following. If you've ever seen prequel memes on Reddit, it's one of the best things you'll ever see.
Yeah.
The third movie is the prequel god. It is it's the meme god, sorry.
It really is. Every other sentence is like, this is where the fun begins. Flying is... It's so goddamn funny. But you know what? I think there's some good emotion. And, let's get this out the way, because anytime you talk about Star Wars, there's going to be people saying certain things. Mm-hmm. This, as a movie itself, does have a lot of problems. Like, if you just take out a lot, like, if we weren't Star Wars fans, General Grievous is a coughing robot. That's kind of dumb.
Let's just be clear, he wasn't being a very good social distancer, okay? He was coughing just straight out. Mm-hmm. Okay, he wasn't covering his mouth. That was problem number one. What if he had COVID-19? Okay,
and all those lightsabers, that's not his. He keeps touching people's random things.
There we go. There we go.
And like the dialogue is pretty crap at times, especially it's only because I'm so in love. No, I'm in love. It's like I love this movie, but anytime I see Anakin and Padme on screen at the same time, I skip it. I'm like, don't
it's like
do
a
this.
Passover from like Attack of the Clones. That dialogue between the two of them, it just
absolutely, unwaveringly,
pretty missable.
Love you. Or in episode 2 where Anakin's like, I just killed an entire clan of sand people. I killed the women and the children. And Padme goes on to not only fall in love with this man, but have his children.
Yeah, that's like something too. Just like, okay, condone that type of violence.
Yeah, there's multiple. I mean, that's just from her end. But how about the fact that they all like? It seems very weird because episode 2 and 3, everyone watched Anakin just do all these horrible things.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't question any of it.
You think the Force should have, when Yoda in episode 2 sends his like deep pain in Skywalker, like maybe you should have asked him about that. But what saves episode 3, and again, this is why there's a bit of an asterisk on this review, because if you are somebody like myself or Alex who has just started watching Clone Wars, Daniel, we'll come back to you because you're working on it. That is very much saved in Clone Wars, so you really get some more sympathy for him. But we'll go into the specifics of the movie here. What I really want to start talking about is, if you love this film, if you hate this film, I don't know how you don't love the opening scene of this movie.
Yeah,
because it is so Star Wars. The massive battle over Coruscant. Anakin and Obi-Wan really look like they're friends. Anakin wanting to go back and help the clone troopers. And it ending with them crashing into Grievous' ship and taking out the droids. It is so Star Wars.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Do you know what this movie does differently than the first two?
What's that?
Pardon?
What's that?
It blends it towards episode 4 in a way.
Yeah, I can. Towards the end and everything, like it's a good. It draws it out pretty well.
And I don't think the first two, like episode 1 and episode 2, really did that at all. Like they seem like completely different movies. The only reason you know it's Star Wars is because a guy's holding a lightsaber and a guy's named Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Well, don't forget, like they can't do it too much because again, it is Anakin's story. So I think you have to be careful. And I think you say like the thing of going into episode 4, it does feel like the end of the movie does kind of rush things into let's get everyone into place because Yoda gave up, like we're going to get to it a little later, but Yoda gives up versus the Emperor. He really does. And it just seems like, all right, Padme's dead. All right, Obi-Wan, get to Tatooine. Organa, go take Leia. You gotta go to Dagobah, buddy. Oh, by the way, Qui-Gon getting to explain the Force Ghost stuff. It does feel a little rushed.
Yeah.
But, Daniel, what do you think though of the opening scene? A really good way to start.
Opening? Oh man. Okay, so it's pretty funny because I'm a little older, so I actually watched the prequels in theaters. Pretty funny thing. So before, the movies used to come out in May, not in December, November. So I actually watched them for my birthday, all 3 of them.
Wow.
Yeah. So, Revenge of the Sith, that was a pretty funny one. I watched that with my parents and my sisters. I was like amazed. Like I watched that in IMAX. I remember it. My parents also bought me the Revenge of the Sith video game for PS2 for my birthday.
The one that came out like right before the movie and had the alternative thing? Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I got that as a birthday gift before we went to the movie, so that was pretty cool. Um, yeah, when I watched it, I was like amazed. Like I don't know. I never had that thing where people were like, "Oh, they hated the prequels." I just loved it. Like I think I was just a little kid going, I loved it." I like that they had that good establishment of they were showing more of like the clone pilots. Like, yeah, it's Jango Fett's face. And yeah, I don't know. It was like a confident Anakin that it's something that you didn't really see with Hayden Christensen in Episode 2 a lot of the time, and it just when he was in his Jedi Starfighter, it was great.
You mentioned Hayden, and again, there was a time as a kid where like 4 straight Halloweens I dressed up as Anakin Skywalker, and I've told you guys he's my favorite character in like fiction. What do you guys think of Hayden Christensen's performance? Because it's very much that at the time and for a few years afterwards, until our generation got old enough to express their opinions on Twitter, that everyone very much hated Hayden's performance. So I want to ask what you guys thought of his little betrayal of Anakin Skywalker.
Good Canadian boy.
Yeah, lives in
okay.
Or something. Yeah.
Episode 2 was, it was interesting. Episode 3 was I think Episode 3 was much better.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there was still some very cheesy acting when it comes to him and Padme, but I think just in general, I think it was much better. Mm-hmm. Because he really showed it, and Daniel, I like the way Daniel plays. Like he was more confident in that movie, but what was still there was his battle, like his internal battle, and you really got the sense of that. And you saw it multiple times when he was with Palpatine, right?
Yeah.
But then when he's with Palpatine, he always gives in.
I think it's like Anakin has. Sorry, actually, Daniel. Sorry. What do you think of Hayden Christensen and his performance?
Oh, me. Yeah, I don't know. Episode 2. Okay, when I was a kid, I guess like I didn't think of this at all. But yeah, like growing up, like wow, it's pretty bad his dialogue in Episode 2. But like Episode 3 is a lot better, not perfect, but it kind of shows like I know that I'm probably gonna see this more when I watch Clone Wars, but it's like he's more hardened enough from like the progression of the Clone Wars.
Yes.
That he's taken on like that general identity a bit more seriously.
Yeah.
Especially now that he's not a Padawan.
There's with Anakin, it's weird because like you have the it's a very small thing with him, but. They show it with that one line of how he wants to go back and help them, but he's very loyal, and it's like his the 501st, which was like his legion. They love him because he's General Skywalker. He's wicked. And about the dialogue, guys, it's no secret that George Lucas is a fantastic mind. Fantastic dude. He was the one who went and got the sequel rights and the merchandise rights from Episode 4 because no one wanted them. Like no one denies George Lucas his talent. He's not the best with dialogue. I think a famous thing, Harrison Ford, when they were filming the original trilogy, said that he wanted to tie up George Lucas and make him read out the dialogue so he could get a sense. And I think Alec McGuinness, also the same thing, was like this, I've seen the script and the dialogue is appalling. It's quite bad, honestly. It's quite bad. But you want to talk about something funny. Did you guys notice the battle droids running away when Grievous meets Obi-Wan and Anakin?
Yeah.
Man, they're so funny.
Yeah, the droids are funny.
Well, the battle droids are something else, and I as I watch the Clone Wars, I think my big thing, and I keep telling Adam this, is that the battle droids are so sarcastic.
Yeah.
No matter what, like they just say the most sarcastic things, and sometimes they say it at the wrong time. It's like, no, you're not supposed to be sarcastic. Shoot the guy.
Yeah.
and then you wonder why they wanted to switch to stormtroopers.
I mean, did you guys also see when that little skirmish in the cockpit starts? R2 actually like knocks over a battle droid in the background.
Yeah.
He is. Also, R2's really funny in this movie. Do you guys know this?
Yes, I mean, even though you don't understand what he's saying, yes.
Like when he's fighting the super battle, or when he's running away and you see him, it's like R2, and then he runs into a wall. God, he's adorable, absolutely adorable. And we talked about him a bit. General Grievous, a fine addition to my collection. God, he's great. Like, beside, like, we talked about his coughing and that, but, like, just think, how awesome is it that he is a cyborg that uses 4 lightsabers at a time, and he looks pretty scary.
So, he's not a human, like, he was a human? What is his deal? Because his eyes look like he's an absolute monster.
So there's a few different stories, but, like, what it was, he was a warrior that, like, it's either he was a warrior that, like, had to, like, resort to cybernetics to keep up with the Jedi who he hated, or, like, Dooku, like, found a race of warriors and kind of, like, purposely, maimed Grievous so then he could then transform into a monster. Yeah. And the reason he also looks so scary is because part of Palpatine's grand plan is that they use Grievous as the because he's the commander of the droid army, right, is to make him into, it's kind of like propaganda, that he is the epitome of the monster of the separatists and why we have to keep the war going. It's General Grievous, and yeah, it's all this kind of stuff. That's why Grievous kind of looks the way he does. He's really supposed to be the epitome of evil in this war. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Man.
I remember there's like that short Clone Wars series, like before the. Yes, I remember he was so intimidating, and that was the first time I saw him in. Watching that back in the day, and I remember him fighting like 5 Jedi at one time.
Yes.
And then Mace Windu crushing his like. What is it? He's like crushing his sternum or something. That's why he coughs.
Yes. But yeah, because Windu when Windu goes to kidnap the Chancellor, Windu like crushes Grievous's like chest, and that's why he's coughing. Alex, what were you about to say, everybody?
He has a heavy smoker's cough.
Yeah, he's pretty bad.
Like, it's bad. Like, if he was like a human, I'd suggest going to the hospital.
Yeah. Screw
the doctor. I don't know what the doctor's gonna do. You need to go to the hospital. Okay, 2 questions. He doesn't have the Force, right? That's not General Grievous. General Grievous doesn't have the Force.
No. There's like a little bit.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure.
Bad looking,
I just want to make sure. And why doesn't he have his own lightsaber or lightsabers?
He does, actually. Again, this is...
Okay, a red one.
For those of you who don't kind of know, a lot of the stuff that you're probably going to ask me and I'm going to tell you is based on extended universe and kind of that, like, you know, the like comic books and that, which, again, normally, this is the problem with Revenge of the Sith, that as a movie by itself, there's a lot of issues, but then with Star Wars, there's just so much extra content. So Grievous actually was given a bunch of really sick lightsabers, red ones from previous Sith by Count Dooku, but they were destroyed, and even that, he prefers to use... So Grievous is like the best Jedi killer ever, so like he really likes using those other ones as trophies, really, but he did have red lightsabers. I think they got destroyed by like somebody trying to mess with him or something. He had them, but... And it's not easy to go all of a sudden and try and take more red lightsabers, because the only one who have them are Dooku and the Emperor, and you're not going to kill them. And Darth Maul's... never mind. I don't want to spoil Clone Wars. Or Darth Maul's.
I already know he's coming back. Don't worry.
He was one and done in Phantom Menace, right?
Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah, totally. Don't watch Rogue One. I mean, don't watch Solo.
Wait, yeah. I'm so confused. Can't you make a lightsaber and the crystal inside the lightsaber, and then that determines what color it is, and that crystal is dependent on your personality? Is that not true?
Yes, but the problem is Kyber crystals are all in Ilum, and that's like the Jedi's like spiritual home, so you can't really do that. And red lightsabers are quite different. You can't just get a red crystal. You have to make it bleed. So like you gotta like take a Jedi's lightsaber, kill him with it, and then use the dark side to make it red.
That's so complicated to make a lightsaber.
So sadistic.
Yes. Yeah. But lightsabers are pretty wicked. I want to talk about the scene where Mace Windu, Ki-Adi-Mundi, and the other Jedis, who I'm purposely not going to name to make Daniel upset, they go to arrest the Emperor after.
No, Ki-Adi-Mundi's not there.
Isn't?
So
Yeah,
not,
he's,
not Monday.
he's on Megiddo at the time.
I mean, Kit Fisto and like all the other no names that
What?
are all Jedi Masters.
They're all great. They all deserve to be named.
I want to give a shout out to Kit Fisto because he lasts so much longer than all the other Masters.
That
And
made me
he-
sad as a kid. That was actually like the saddest part for me in the movie when I watched it as a little kid.
Not, Padme dying of a broken heart, not Anakin being burnt to a crisp, the younglings getting killed. It was the no-name Masters getting slaughtered.
No, it's because Kid Fisto won our heart at the Battle of Geonosis in the arena, and then he became my favorite character after that. Actually, yeah, close second is Coleman Traybar, who almost ended the Clone Wars against Count Dooku, before they even started. But yeah, like that made me so sad. Like, wow, he lasted like 5 seconds against Palpatine.
You know what pissed me off about that scene is that it looked like none of them even tried.
Yeah.
See, this is another problem with Star Wars, is you see something like that, and then they have the need to, like, explain it, and then you'll have a Star Wars fan say, well, it's because Palpatine's so powerful. And it's like, no, he just dicked a bunch of Jedi, and it's hilarious. Because, like, those
just
are
like-
masters.
Yeah, they're all like council members.
Yeah. And then he just kills him in a second. And by the way, Windu does win.
Yeah, he wins.
Yeah.
Yeah. Palpatine isn't faking it. Like, Windu, if not for Anakin, like, Windu wins. And by the way, we haven't seen the body, so may still be alive.
That's like crazy thing I thought about, like, when I started reading more into this of the expanded universe, is like, is that much of like Yoda and Windu on one, like their own level, and then all the other Jedi Masters like on their own other like lower level?
Sorry, go ahead, Alex.
No, I was just gonna say, like, the only reason Mace Windu's on his own level is because it's Samuel L. Jackson. let's just put that out there. He's like, I don't want a green or blue lightsaber. You're going to give me a purple lightsaber, okay? That's the only reason that Mace Windu's on his own level.
Now, Daniel, I can give you... Alex has just given you the real reason. I will give you the BS reason. It's because Windu has a style where he uses the dark side against his opponent.
Oh, it's a gray Jedi. It's like a borderline gray Jedi, right?
I don't think it's like gray, but it's like he also like channels his own inner dark side and uses it. And Yoda is like 900-year-old like grandmaster, right? Like Yoda's like he's Yoda. Like I can't tell you more than like he's the grandmaster. Like I think like, the most powerful beings are like Palpatine, Anakin if he reached his potential, but if Yoda ever used the dark side, like no one could touch him. Like no one could because he's just that wicked.
What is Anakin like in terms of an NHL player reaching his full potential?
So I'd say
I have a good one, but Adam's not gonna like it.
So he's easily like you gotta remember at the time of this he could probably like, he was going to beat Obi-Wan. Like Obi-Wan's on the defense the entire time of the fight, but it was his Sith, it was his God complex that screwed him. But like as a pure duelist, he's better than Dooku, so he's better than the Sith.
Yeah.
I don't know if he could beat. I think he could beat Windu, but I don't think he could beat Yoda. So, and when it comes to potential, it's Wayne Gretzky. Like he's on it, like the chosen one thing. Anakin, if he reaches his full potential, if he doesn't get cut up by Obi-Wan, is Wayne Gretzky. But as an actual player, he's easily like Steve Yzerman, I'd say.
Adam's not gonna like this comparison at all, and as soon as I say it, he's gonna make a face. He's like if Mario Lemieux didn't suffer so many injuries.
I think that's fair.
He's darn good, but imagine what he would have been if he didn't suffer so many injuries. And think about it. Anakin didn't have an arm, then he just completely got burnt. Like he's just all but dead.
Yeah.
Wait, is Ahsoka his Ymir Yager?
I wouldn't say she's like Yager level, but she's like
That's a good one.
But Ahsoka's kind of like, I'd say like Luke Robitaille, like a superstar, one of the greats, but not one of the Rushmore of fantastic Jedi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Man, I had notes kind of done up here, but I feel like it's just going to turn into Adam. This doesn't make sense. Tell me the BS comic book reason. Okay, one scene I really, really wanted to talk about. And this is a scene that means so much more when you watch Clone Wars, but even by itself, I still think it's pretty sick. Order 66. And I'll tell you what I like the most about Order 66 is Yoda feels it. Like, that just hits home. He can feel that thousands of Jedi are getting slaughtered right now.
Right.
That's pretty powerful, is it not?
It is. It gave me goosebumps. I'm not going to lie.
And then that's Daniel, obviously. We see Ki-Adi Monday get messed up at... Is it...
Commander Baccarat, I remember he was my favorite clone commander.
I'm surprised you remember that.
Yeah, I remember he killed Ki-Adi Monday.
Yeah.
Magneto.
I can't say it. Plo Koon gets shot down. That was pretty sad.
Sad.
And then Ayla Secura is the one who gets killed on Felucia. She's the blue one with the weird tape. And Daniel, you may have noticed this. Alex, was there anything special about her scene in Order 66 that stood out for you?
She didn't ignite her lightsaber. That's the only thing that bothered me.
Because she got shot in the... You ever know that, Daniel, Alex, sorry, did you notice that, like, they shot her down immediately, right? Like, no chance. But they kept shooting her when
Yeah, that was a little... That
Yeah.
was a little overdone.
Yeah, you gotta feel bad. Oh, by the way, Kashyyyk? Wookiees? Guys?
Yeah. The only thing that bothered me, I just remember reading this part with Kashyyyk, is that Yoda was not the only Jedi Master commander on that planet.
Who else was there?
It was Luminara Unduli.
Oh, yeah, you see her, yeah.
Yeah. But then she gets killed off screen.
That is... Oh, by the way, since we're here, I should probably show on the podcast. I got my lightsaber, and...
Whoa.
And it's glass.
Wow.
Because I have a white crystal, that means I'm neither Jedi or Sith, by the way, if you wanna know that.
We just want a replica Kate Fisto one.
No, it's not. Let me ask you guys this. Chewbacca.
Yes.
Too much fan service?
I don't know, like, when I went back and watched it, I'm like, hey. that was about it. I didn't think about it too much.
And Tarful, let's go, the Wookiees.
Yeah.
Now, I couldn't find anything official on this, but I'm pretty sure somewhere I once read that. So obviously, Episode 6 takes place on Endor with the Ewoks, right? I swear I saw somewhere once that the original plan for Episode 6 was to instead have it as the liberation of Kashyyyk, but it was going to be too expensive, so they went to the Ewoks and that.
I believe it.
They're half the price.
Yeah, man, they're about a third the size too. But, like, I don't know about you guys, but my one Star Wars wish list thing has always been I want to see the liberation of Kashyyyk as like a big movie or something. But we should probably get to Anakin's little arc here, and all Anakin seems to have is the Jedi Code and the Order, but the Jedi have just clearly fallen so far. Like, Windu, again, like, the big problem and what makes Anakin turn on the Jedi at the very end is, besides wanting to save Padme, Windu goes against the Jedi Code and is about to kill the Chancellor, who, you can't just assassinate the Emperor, dude. Like, we need to have a trial here, right? What? So you're saying they shouldn't have done the Nuremberg trials? They should have just said,
Well, don't throw history in my face. This is a movie.
Yeah, see, if this was
a movie.
If we're gonna go by proper rules, Algin Kular and Sasay Tin would have lasted longer against Palpatine.
What do you want me to say to you?
That still bothers me, that scene. Well, it looks so cool when they ignite their lightsabers, but like the entire fight just kind of bothers me.
Quickly about that kid who, when Bail Organa goes to the temple, there's the kid who like cuts down the troopers but gets shot down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys know who that kid is?
It's George Lucas' son.
Yes, it is. And it's not the last time he's in either of these movies either. He's I forget.
That was my answer.
Yeah, George Lucas' son is in these movies, and he does well for himself as a youngling. I don't know how he got away from Anakin. By the way, Anakin kills a bunch of younglings. Let's not forget.
Yeah. I remember when they see the security.
Man,
the security, and it's pretty cool. So this is just a throwback to the video game. So Anakin there is fighting Syndraulic and his Padawan, and Syndraulic's like the swordsman, like I think like trainer in the temple, and that's a boss you actually fight in the video game. So it was pretty cool.
Oh, so what? He's like the main like lightsaber duelist dude.
Yeah, then Anakin like fights him and his Padawan at the same time. It was pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Man, they didn't stand a chance of Anakin there. They really. I love that shot that you see Anakin in the 501st climbing the stairs of the temple. By the way, that's so good.
Okay. So-
what's up?
You guys were saying it, and I just thought of the meme I saw in my head, and I can't find it on my phone. I saved a couple of memes on Instagram for later. There's a meme I saw on Instagram. So, Anakin walks in, and there's the younglings, and they go, "Master Skywalker, there's too many of them. What should we do?" And then it shows Anakin's face, and it's like, "What did you call me?" And he goes back to the younglings, and they say "Master," and then you swipe right, and they're all standing together. They're all holding red lightsabers because they called him Master.
Man, yo, and let's be honest. Like, they really did Anakin dirty. Did the council? Like, they are. Like, man, he was so insecure that he couldn't go with them and be like, it's kind of like going to your parents when you've done something wrong, but it's like, hey, sorry, I broke the Jedi code. I got the senator pregnant, by the way, guys, and I married her. But, like, I think it's a fair argument that the council are very much to blame for Anakin's downfall, because they are just, like, that's why, like, Obi-Wan kind of says, I failed you, Anakin. I failed you. Because, man, they really didn't do a good job.
But you didn't see an issue with him being extremely close to the Chancellor, and I think at that point they kind of had this weird feeling, because moving up to that point, the Chancellor was doing all these questionable things, and you even see it in the Clone Wars. He does all these questionable things, and like, oh, we have to get more droids. Then Padme says something towards the Senate, and then coincidentally something bad happens right after that, and then the Republic buys more gets more clone troopers. Sorry.
Yes.
There's so many questionable things.
Yeah. That's what Luke says in The Last Jedi. He said like the Jedi, like their downfall was it their arrogance?
Yes, was their downfall. Yes, it
Yeah.
is. They really are. Guys, I don't know about you. I could tell that Palpatine was the bad guy. It's pretty easy to tell that he's the bad guy.
At the beginning of Episode 3.
Kill him. Kill him now.
Kill him. He said,
Do it.
And then as soon as he says do it, the voice he says do it in. That raspy, evil voice, he's the bad guy.
It maybe also Anakin should have known when Christopher Lee turns his head and is like, "You wanted to kill me? That's not part of the plan." Like Dooku, maybe being like, "Excuse me," like cat that ate the canary face. Maybe that should have tipped you off. And when he's like, "Hey, Obi-Wan, we should leave him."
That made me laugh when I was a kid. They leave him with not enough time.
So many questionable actions.
Damn. Man.
But yeah, a lot of stuff going on. I think it's just the council became really rigid. Also, like, I don't know. So I remember like reading like at the height, this was like what 10,000 Jedi within the Order.
Yeah, this is like peak Order, like most powerful of the Jedi. Like this is where they are.
And then there's two. At the end of the movie, there's two.
There's the easy answer.
Two.
There's two, but there's a lot more.
Yeah, that survived.
Yeah.
But we just don't see them.
I remember like that contrast you see in like. I like that there's the continuity. Like there's like it's also continued from Episode 2 where it's that whole thing about like the Jedi arrogance or kind of like not like the whole thing you said with Windu not like wanting to kill Palpatine. So like the first thing where like they have that meeting at the beginning of Episode 2 where Mace Windu says like we're keepers of peace, not soldiers, and he said there are not enough Jedi to defend this republic, and then they become generals.
Sorry to interrupt you as well, but like there's also that key part when Obi-Wan's like, "My allegiance is to the Republic, democracy." Meanwhile, like the second in command of the Order, Mace Windu's like, "I'm gonna kill this politician now. Don't mind me."
Maybe there aren't any good guys.
He's frustrated. Like he just saw his three best buddies get like dropped like a sack of potatoes.
Kit Fisto.
No, They're not buddies. They're not allowed to form connections with the Jedi.
No.
There you go.
I'm telling you, there's so many. There's so much.
So they wouldn't have a
resemblance.
podcast like this, then I guess. That's
No.
why.
Imagine a podcast: Mace Windu, Kit Fisto,
Sasay Tid and Elgin Kular.
sure. And then
I
there's
trust Skywalker.
and then there's a second one. It's Obi-Wan, Master Yoda, and give me another Jedi. Just
Pablo
like-
Joe.
Yeah. Who?
Okay, so you know the guy with like the drop down eyes with the orange face and the blue lightsaber? You see him in the arena battle. His name is Pablo Jill. But like in his like story, he gets killed by General Grievous.
Oh.
Ah,
Okay, so
Yeah,
who would be
like-
the third podcast host with Yoda and Kenobi?
I'd say Plo Koon. He's pretty
Plo
wise.
Koon.
He's one of the pretty well-known masters.
You guys not gonna go with Coleman Trebar?
Podcast welcome
Yeah,
to.
with freaking. Are you saying I'm Yoda?
Podcast welcome to the.
No, welcome. Wait, to the 201 podcast. We welcome you. Screwed. The senators are. From the sharks. See the comeback I did with the Force. Not see the evil chancellor I did not. See the Leafs blowing a 3-1 lead I did. Strong with the Force, McDavid is. Man, I don't even know.
True crime speculation. Is Palpatine who we really think he is?
What do you mean?
What?
No, you know those true crime like
Oh,
speculation
yeah,
podcasts where it's like, yeah, do we really know if this is the guy?
Is Chancellor
Somebody out there
Palpatine the
dealt with the Emperor.
Emperor?
Is he the Sith Lord we've been looking for?
Chancellor Palpatine equals Emperor?
A Sith Lord? Well, I mean, did you not see his evil cackling when the new war bill has gone? Excellent, Anakin, excellent. Like, he is oozing the dark side.
Chancellor is Emperor? What?
Chancellor 3 is champion? I don't know. This is something I would really wanted to ask you guys. So, a criticism from the prequels are the choreographed lightsaber fights. Now, Anakin versus Obi-Wan, I love it because you have great music, the Battle of Heroes, Duel of the Fates is kind of linked in there, and at the same time you have the kind of edited in Yoda versus Emperor fight. When in the sequels, the sequel trilogy, the Disney ones, Kylo Ren, whenever he's in the lightsaber fight, it's just, I'm gonna hit you freaking hard and brute force, and it's very much the choreographed fights of the prequels compared to the rough hack and slash, is how I have it on my notes, of the Disney trilogy. What do you guys think of the kind of difference between the lightsaber fights of the trilogy?
I think, okay, George Lucas mentioned this before where he did it a specific way in the prequels because he's like, I wanted to show the prime of the Jedi. I wanted to show what they are, where they like, you know, at their height. And then he talked about like first with the original where like, you know, it's Darth Vader, and then Obi-Wan, it's like, you know, kind of like the old guard. And then with the Disney ones, I know he talked about like with Kylo Ren's like his fighting style is more like of a brawler, and it kind of goes with his lightsaber. I think I mentioned this with the episode 9 episode for the podcast where he has an unstable kyber crystal. That's why he has the two ends to kind of balance it out. And he, like, if you could tell, his blade is really unstable.
Right.
So
Yeah.
like he has that brawler style.
I think it's very fair. It's very fair. What about you, Alex?
Were the Jedi ever really in their prime?
Yeah.
Were they though? They were all. I'm just putting this out there. That the entire time the Chancellor was in power, Chancellor, in quotations, he was the Sith Lord they had been looking for.
Yes.
The entire time.
What you got? So there were only ever 2 Sith, right? Like it's a big, like the rule of 2 is very, very important. And at the same time, I think they kind of thought Dooku was the master because he's the one heading up the separatists, right?
Yeah.
And at the end, well, as you know, because I think in episode 2, no, Dooku's like, "Hey, I'm a Sith. What up?" to Obi-Wan. So like, Plus, at the same time, you got to think it's a bit wild that Palpatine's plan kind of worked. That he started 2 wars, 2 armies, and got away with it. It is fair, but to the question of the lightsaber fights, what do you think?
Honestly, I didn't notice the
Oh.
difference.
You didn't? Should I just move on?
Well, what you can give your opinion if you want.
No, yeah, Daniel said it there. Like, you gotta think. So this is the Jedi at their best. They have a whole temple and that. You know, it makes sense that they would have like this big organized kind of like. Of course, they should be the most choreographed. Like they're all like there's thousands of Jedi that all are like trained in certain fighting styles. Of course, it's going to be kind of like fancy whoopity doo. When instead of Kylo is kind of learning to be like not even a Sith, but like a dark. Basically a Sith, but not really on the fly. Same with Rey. I never saw Luke teach her how to use a lightsaber, right? So, it makes sense to me.
Who taught her how to use a lightsaber?
That's what I mean.
So many plot holes in that series. God. There's so much wrong with those 3 movies. I don't care what anyone says.
No, Force Awakens is good.
No, it's not. None of them are good.
It is?
None of
Force
them are good.
Awakens is a good movie.
They make like the rest of them, like 4, 5. It's like a disgrace to 4, 5, 6. That's what 7, 8, 9 is.
Episode 6 isn't a good movie. Okay, let's get that out the way. It's not good.
It picks up like after
but
Jabba's,
7, 8, 9 are not good movies. 9, 8, and 9 especially.
Okay, yeah.
I like that the eyes she showed out.
Especially, just to be clear.
No, I think it's very fair that episode 4 and 5. Okay, let's get into this debate. You know what? Forget about the rest of this. We'll finish off talking about Vader and that at the end because I think that's really the most important part of the movie.
Yeah, and I have something to bring up too because I think they really screwed up with the general Star Wars fans, not the ones who go deep diving into everything.
Okay, hold on. Alex's point. Okay, I'm just going to put that. Okay. I'm going to give you my brief thing here as someone who is a Star Wars fan and somebody who is very critical of movies. Okay? Episode 4 and 5 are good movies, period.
Number 1, number 2 on the list of 9.
Yeah, as a strength, and the best part about them is you have to watch them together. Episode 6 has a really good. It's the same thing as Rogue One. It has a fantastic third act, and Lucas took the chance of humanizing Vader, which I wouldn't have tried and make humanize Darth freaking Vader, right? But like beside that, the Ewok stuff is bad. Han Solo should have died in Episode 5. Harrison Ford himself has always been a very big fan of that. And he's not a good character in Episode 6. He's not. He really isn't. Luke's plan to get into Jabba's palace is the stupidest thing ever. Somehow Han Solo doesn't realize that, oh, hey, there's Lando. Last time I saw you, you turned me into a bounty hunter. I'm going to trust you. There's a lot of, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Ewoks are dumb, and it's dumb how the Empire fell for that. Episode 1 is a boring movie, and Episode 2 is a mess. But Episode 7 is a good, damn nice reboot. All right? It just is.
I disagree.
Finn's arc is so good, but then it's wasted by the other movies. Force Awakens is a perfectly fine reboot to the series.
I disagree.
Okay, so what do you not like about
I think 7, 8, and 9, all 3 of them are cash grabs. They're all cash grabs. That's what they are. That's exactly, in my opinion, that's what they are. There was no good reason. Why was Harrison... Think about it like this. They needed a way to connect the old fans to the new old fans to the new movies. And how did they do that? Bringing back old characters. Do you know what they could have done? Started from scratch, just like what they said they're going to do now, right? They said, "Hey, this guy."
Same thing.
Right, and the prequels aren't as good as 4, 5, 6. That's established. But it finishes the story, correct? It says, "Hey, this is who Darth Vader is." Mm-hmm. What purpose does 7, 8, 9 have to the first 6 movies? Because I don't think it adds anything to it.
it's really about like the core of episode 7, 8, and 9, or well, no, because from what I could tell from where episode 6 plan was, and I do think there are original type of characters. Finn is a child soldier. Like we have never like George Lucas has always been very, very poignant in saying that stormtroopers don't have faces because they're supposed to just be cannon fodder. But then what they started to do in episode 7 was you get a unique character in Finn who, guess what, is a child soldier dragged into the Empire, right? Kylo Ren is as bad as the first 3 movies kind of made Anakin, and without taking Clone Wars, kind of the flaws he has in episode 3. Kylo, actually, you believe his heartache. You believe the problem. And I think Han Solo, again, he should have died in episode 5, but they did the right thing killing him off. Now, there's issues in regards to, like, man, did you really need, like, the Luke stuff was kind of dumb in that? Yeah, but I'm not going to disagree with you that episodes, like, I'm not, like, Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, we've talked about plenty. But, like, I look at Force Awakens and I'm like, is it A New Hope kind of redone? Yes, but it's not, like, Rey is pretty. I still think she's pretty damn good in the first movie too.
But it's the issue I have with 7, 8, and 9 is that they're all cash grabs. They're all cash grabs, and they have no. To me, if someone said, "Hey, how should I watch Star Wars?" Why watch 7, 8, and 9? They don't add anything to the first 6 movies, and you only get an actual good reference to Palpatine in the 9th movie. And yeah, you get the throwback to Darth Vader, but to me, it didn't add anything to the story. It felt like three separate movies in a trilogy that had throwbacks to the first 6. That's the issue I had with them.
So what's your issue with episode 7 though by itself? I get, like the trilogy.
It's a cash grab, and I don't think it adds anything to it.
Yeah, well, I think it's very difficult to say a movie is bad because it's a cash grab. Everything is. You think everyone's like, oh, you know what, guys? Let's remake The Lion King in live action because
that was an absolute cash grab. There was no need to do that. There was zero need to do that.
I still want to know what your issue is with episode 7 because all you've told me is cash grabbing that, but I want to know what was your issue with the movie itself.
The fact that they restarted Star Wars, already that ruined it for me. Ruined it for me.
All right, this is about episode 3. Well, all right. Oh, hey, Daniel. By the way, how are you? What do you think of episode 7, Daniel?
Me, I believe the episode's on episode 3, so what do you get?
All right, that's very true. Okay, so we'll go with it then. What do you guys? This is something really curious. How did you guys feel watching the end of of Obi-Wan versus Anakin and the whole you were the chosen one. It said you'd bring balance to the Force, that you would destroy the Sith, not join them. Bring balance to the Force, not leave it in darkness. You were my brother Anakin. I loved you. What was it like for you guys watching that scene? Because as a big Anakin fan and such a big Star Wars fan I am, it was hard for me to watch. So starting with you, Daniel, just because me and Alex had a bit of a I want to get you talking here. So how did you feel about that last little scene with Anakin and Obi-Wan?
The first part was, when they cuts off his leg, Obi-Wan cuts off his leg. I didn't think that was gonna happen. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess they're gonna show us that. And then that whole part where he's like, when Anakin screams like, "I hate you," I'm like, yeah, there's no coming back. This guy's like bad beyond belief.
That's very fair. There's before I throw it to you, Alex, there's a deleted scene actually where Anakin's eyes go blue. And he asked Obi-Wan to help him, but they cut it. I think is the right decision, by the way. Sith eye color is important for a little thing. But Alex, what do you feel about the scene?
Yeah, it was very emotional, and I think for me now that I'm halfway through Clone Wars, that I think you don't get enough of their I think if you watch Clone Wars, you really see the relationship between Obi-Wan and Anakin develop, and I don't know if episodes 1 and 2 really give it enough, show it enough. So to watch it after even just getting halfway through, it has a different meaning.
It's funny you say that. That's a very good point, because in episode 2, if you guys watch it, Anakin and Obi-Wan, they're together at the beginning of the movie, and then they split them up until the very end. And in episode 1, Anakin's a kid, and he relates more with Qui-Gon. So you get a sense almost like it's Obi-Wan didn't even want to, because Obi-Wan's a Padawan still in episode 1, so you really don't get to build on their relationship. If anything, that's the biggest problem with the prequels as it is. And I don't care about Padme and the kids, because that's a whole plot issue, because Leia says she remembers her mom. You don't remember when you were first born. But
Force remembers. I don't know.
Stop it. But what about Anakin gets the suit on? James Earl Jones is doing the voice. Darth Vader is here, guys. And especially with that last scene. Well, no, it's not the very last scene. That's with Luke. But the scene of there's the shell of the Death Star being built, and you have Tarkin who's just walked away, and Vader and the Emperor right there. Darth Vader is here. Anakin Skywalker has fallen to the dark side, and there's no turning back.
Mm-hmm. There's a new hope coming.
Stop it.
Kid Fisto did not die in vain.
Will there be a next hope? Find out next time.
Oh God.
I know you want to bring up this point, Alex, and I feel like we talked about it before the show, so what's up?
I think they really screwed a lot of people over with this Force Seal thing. Right?
Okay.
They talk about it in episode 9, and I think what, in my opinion, is that they really screwed a lot of people over. In if I'm not watching Clone Wars or all the other shows or reading the comic books or whatever else in the extended universe, what's the difference between Force healing and what Palpatine talks about in episode 3?
And as in when he's saying saving the people you love?
Yeah. And saying you can stop them from death.
So, okay, that's a very good question.
And I know you have the answer for it.
Kinda. So, again, with Star Wars, there's two answers. There's the real answer, and then there is the kind of complicated one. The real answer is, first, Force healing, I think, is a bit different than, using what Sidious talks about is, manipulating the midichlorians and life and stuff, the whole, science that takes away the mystery of Star Wars, that kind of issue. When Force healing kind of felt like an ex machina type thing with Rey, the answer is Force healing wasn't even a thing. So it was a lot of people seem to think that it's a manipulation that Sidious is using to try and get Anakin, because listen, going back to episode 2, he was gonna kill Padme. That's the whole thing. He's like, Dooku, kill Padme. Dooku sends Jango Fett to go kill Padme. Right. Cosmonaut Bernard Variety Hour is a really good YouTuber, and he breaks down all the movies, and he talks about just how dumb the assassination plot on Padme is, but he was never gonna help her, right? So I think but at the same time, Sidious doesn't really lie, and this is something, I don't know if you were on the call yet, Daniel. There's this really kind of cool theory that I'm a really big fan of. So apparently if you break down the audio, Vader's heart stops, and then it only goes a few seconds after the mask goes on, or it takes him a second to start breathing again. And at the same time, there's this really beautiful song, and it's like an opera type of thing of I love Padme, I failed her, right? And at the same time, this is edited with the scene of Padme dying. And Sidious has that line of, in your rage, you killed her. Now, at first face value, that's that's when you force choked her on Mustafar and that, but she lives and, goes on to have the kids, right? Now, the idea is that Vader using the dark side, or maybe Sidious, or maybe together, we don't quite know, because Sidious senses he's in danger and goes to save her. There's some sort of thing with the dark side that kind of steals Padme's life and kind of resurrects Anakin, or Vader in that sense. That's the best I can give you, really, Alex, is when it comes to the Force heal thing.
See, but you had to know more about it than just watching the movies. And yes. I think I have 2 memes right here. Yeah. Just about it. So Anakin and Palpatine, they're sitting at the Senate. I don't remember what they were about to discuss, or maybe it wasn't the Senate. Maybe they were watching that show, and it looked like they were bubbles. Still don't understand why someone would pay to watch that. Looked really boring, to be honest.
Fun fact: Palpatine loves that. It's so weird. That's a big part of his character. He loves going to it. But continue.
Okay, so he's talking about Darth Plagueis, right?
Yes.
So Anakin's and he explains the story. So Anakin goes, "Is it possible to learn this power?" Palpatine says, "Yeah, your grandson and my orphan granddaughter both did it without learning how." And then it goes to the credits, written and directed by George Lucas. Yeah.
No, that's fair, man. There have been some pretty good memes ripping Rey. I will say that.
I have a second one. So you know the scene where Anakin wakes up after having the nightmare or the sense that Padme is gonna die. Yeah, vision. So Anakin says, "I had a vision of you dying in childbirth," and then Padme goes to him, "Don't worry, Anakin. You could just force heal me." And he goes, "Oh right, I forgot about that." And then it cuts to the credits. You know, I wish movies would do that, because that'd be funny. I've seen in one movie ever, and I can't remember what the actual scene was, do something like that, where they make a joke of something that actually happened, and it cuts to the credits. And I thought the movie was over.
All right, guys. To wrap up here, I'm going to ask each of you your favorite character and moment from the movie. We'll start with you, Alex.
Is it bad that I want to say Darth Vader?
No, that's fair.
I think Darth Vader is the best villain of all time. Thanos has nothing on Darth Vader.
I think that's very fair, by the way. I think it's very fair.
I saw a poll, and Thanos had the most votes. I just think that's because Thanos is the most recent big villain. But I think if you do a proper random poll, a proper journalism random poll, it'll be Darth Vader.
Okay, but before we move to me, can I ask you one question?
Yeah.
Well, you have to say your favorite moment first. You know?
Yes. Wait. So Alex, who's more bad, the Galactic Empire with Darth Vader, or the Boston Bruins?
The Boston Bruins.
Yeah, I agree.
Bruins. My favorite moment.
Man,
I don't know.
The suspense is killing me.
I don't know.
There's got to be
let me think about it. Let Daniel go first.
Okay. For me, it's kind of like a...
Don't say Kid
it's a
nostalgic
thing. It's a nostalgic thing for me. So like, it's okay. It includes him. So it's a part where I think it's a great tracking scene where Windu and the Masters walk into the office, and then the doors open for them.
Yeah.
I think that was a really cool part. And then like basically the whole Order 66 thing, because it really does hit you. And I just remember as a kid playing the old Star Wars Battlefront on my original Xbox.
Yeah.
Before I remember this before I just went to straight PlayStation. Sorry guys. There's a when you're the 501st Legion, there's a level where you play as, it's called Nightfall, and you actually attack the temple, and I'm like, this is insane. It was like the hardest level for me, because I remember it's like impossible to kill the Jedi.
Wasn't it like, sorry to interrupt, but it was like, I remember the night the Clone Wars ended. It was so quiet. The 501st were quietly transferred back to Coruscant.
Yes.
Sorry, Jesus. Yeah, that was good.
That level was so good.
Okay, I have my scene if Daniel's done.
Yeah.
The scene where General Grievous and Anakin first meet.
I thought you'd be taller. It would be over.
Yeah, either that one or the I Have the High Ground.
Oh, I love those memes.
It's over. I have the high ground.
Man, sorry, Daniel, who is your favorite character? And if it's a no-name Jedi, I swear.
It's Kit Fisto, man. I'm telling
It's
you.
Kit Fisto. I'm not gonna relent on that.
It's funny how he sounds. No, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say
No,
that.
say it, say it, say it.
I was gonna say, like, why does he sound Jamaican in the Clone Wars series?
Yeah, I never understood that.
They need to, and he just happens to be the water dude who's it's a bit, it's a. See, you understand why I'm careful to say that with everything
Yes.
going on. It's very quite on the nose for me there, but Fisto's a great character in Clone Wars. He's not afraid to rip Grievous. There's some good arcs there. I'd say Jesus. So you're sorry, and Alex, you said it's either when Grievous meets Anakin, or what was the other one? Sorry.
I have the high ground.
I have the high ground. That's fair. That's fair. Man, if you watch a lot of Star Wars videos, there's always going to be a guy who has the username Obi-Wan Kenobi saying they would have won if they had had the high ground.
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff. For me, my favorite's obviously Anakin. And my favorite scene is probably Anakin, the edited part of Anakin and Obi-Wan, as well as the fight with Sidious and Yoda. Because that's just, I really like that. So the
was cool, yeah.
And when Sidious and Yoda are throwing the Senate seats at each other,
Yeah.
are really, really cool. Too bad Yoda gave up because he's a coward.
Got tired.
Whoa.
I've been waiting a long time for this, my little green friend. Pretty dumb.
You know what we should do an episode on?
What?
How we'll do an hour-long episode. We'll take pre-World War II and World War II events and make a timeline of them compared to the Star Wars one, because I guarantee you we will find so many similarities.
Man, I'm trying to think of a big Clone Wars battle. God, there's one on a shipyard. You can say it's kind of like the attempt of Battle of the Bulge in World War II, when the Germans try and cut off the supply lines, and this certain planet with the big shipyard for the Republic. But yeah, you could probably get some like that.
Oh, for sure. Just make a timeline.
Yeah,
That'll happen.
it's a lot of work, but I am down to do. I will gladly talk more Star Wars.
Yeah, I want to go back to the old Battlefront games now.
Yeah, man. Hey, Hey, Daniel, have you started playing Fallen Order yet?
I didn't buy it.
Do it. And Alex, you were playing through it. How far did you get?
I'm not done yet. I haven't been playing Fallen Order lately.
You need to get on that.
I will.
Yesterday. Is that everything, guys?
I think so.
This was fun.
Yeah, great movie. Fun movie. All right. If that's everything, then, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this, look at me on the YouTube channel. If you like this episode, like and subscribe. If you want to leave a review and say what you'd like us to talk about next, what is your favorite Star Wars movie? What is your
character.
favorite Star Wars? What?
Character.
And character. You will follow us on our social medias. You will check out Alex's new article on his blog about a player performance where he says something check that I wanted to call him out on, but I will on our next hockey episode. Check out Daniel's Twitter as well and all that. And check out my YouTube channel. This is indeed the content you are looking for.